Today's topic is the dryer vent system inspection. So I'll cover why the inspection's important, what I typically do to carry out the inspection, and why it's valuable to the homeowner. When I go out to somebody's home to service their dryer, my primary aim is to leave that home making sure that the dryer vent system is as safe and efficient as I can make it. So starting with the inspection is really essential, because I want to understand the condition of the current system. Are there any potential hazards? And I want to make my recommendation very customized to the homeowner, which I can only do if I've taken some measurements and gotten my eyes on as much of the system as I can. The first phase really starts with the dryer itself, kind of a visual inspection. So I'll get in, I'll set up my measurement tools, and with my flashlight, I'll look around the dryer. Is there any lint that I can visibly see behind the dryer? I'll lean over and get a look at that transition hose, just starting to build up a picture in my mind. What kind of material is the transition hose made out of? How long is it? How many turns does it make? Is it kind of crushed or kinked in a strange way? I'll open up the dryer and take out the lint trap, making kind of a mental note of how much lint is on the lint screen. Not that it's, good or bad. Most people will finish a load of laundry and then clean the lint screen the next time before they're going to use the dryer. So it's kind of expected that there's, one load worth of lint on the lint screen. If there's not any, that also could be a warning sign. Perhaps the homeowner is using dryer sheets and these have built up a waxy buildup on the lint screen, so it's actually not collecting lint. So take out the lint screen, then using my flashlight or headlamp, I'll lean over, sticking my head in the dryer, and look down into that lint tray. Can I visibly see clumps of lint in the tray and, right underneath it? That could be something potentially that I recommend is vacuuming out that dryer if there is a lot of lint collected in it. So then that's kind of the first step, visual inspection. The next step is I'll start the dryer up. I'll do this on this air fluff mode, or low heat or no heat, because if there is some type of problem, I don't want to turn the dryer on, high heat and me be the one there servicing the dryer and causing the dryer fire. So with the dryer on the air fluff, my next step is to look at the rest of the vent line. The main goal of this will ultimately be to test the airflow, so the wind speed that is coming out of that exterior vent, because this is really what's going to give me the best indication of where we're starting from as far as whether there's any clogs or potential issues. I'm in the Houston area, Katy, Texas, so a lot of the homes here have the exterior vent on the roof. So usually I'll go to the van to get my ladder and materials and climb up on the roof to test that airflow. I use a wind speed anemometer. There'll be a picture of one here that gives me the max wind speed that comes out of that vent. So of course, I'll also do a visual inspection of the vent. Is there lint visibly caught around the exterior vent? Is the vent itself up to code, meaning, does it have proper openings? Is it not restricting the airflow? Does it have a backdraft damper, which that means when the dryer is not on and pushing air out of the vent, is there some type of mechanism in the vent that'll hold it closed? It's usually like a flap. So is that on the vent and functioning? And then, of course, while I'm up on the roof, if there is visible lint in the exterior vent, usually I'll go ahead and scrape that off just using my hands with gloves, and then also try to get a little bit of a look inside the ductwork, the pipe that is feeding into the vent, just to see if I can, gauge how much lint might be stuck inside the pipe as well. Again, just building up a picture of what the condition the system is in when we start. If the vent is not on the roof, I would do the same process, but on the side of the house, either from a ladder or if it is, accessible at ground height. I've measured that airflow. What we really like to see is between about 12 and 15 miles per hour. Usually the airflow coming out of the back of the dryer should be over 20. So it does, of course, lose some airflow within the ductwork. So around, that 12 to 15 mile per hour range is, functioning system, and anything at 5 or below is what we'd consider like a low flow situation. I've taken the airflow reading. Next step in the inspection would be to visually inspect what I can as far as exposed ductwork. So if that vent did go to the roof, this would be the part that you can see going through the attic. So I would ask the homeowner to allow me to access the attic and go up there and get eyes on the duct. So what I'm looking for here is it fully connected? And a very easy way to tell if it's not is there actually lint in the attic, like stuck to the insulation, for example. Another thing that I would be looking for is just the general condition of the duct. Is the pipe, are the seams, taped properly? Is there a good connection between the pipe and the vent? And then the other thing that I'm making note of through this process mentally is how long the vent line is. So up to 35 feet is fine for residential. Anything over 35 feet, it's recommended to have a booster fan installed in the duct line to help with adding some assistance to the dryer to make sure that lint gets pushed out. Sometimes in vent lines that are shorter than 35 feet, there still will be a booster fan installed. So I'm also specifically checking for this when I go in the attic because it influences the type of cleaning that I would be able to do. At this stage, fairly well concludes the attic work. So at this point, I would go back down into the laundry room and switch off the dryer because I've had it running, on air fluff the whole time I've been doing this. So then my next step usually is to pull the dryer out and get a closer look at what's going on behind it. So I would look more closely at the actual transition hose, disconnect it to see if there is lint buildup in the transition hose, potentially condensation in the Houston area with it so hot and humid, especially if there's not a proper roof vent installed. Then rain can potentially drive into the dryer duct system. This happened during the hurricane that we had in July. And also just the temperature difference. If the vent is on the roof and it's super hot and humid outside, and then the attic takes that temperature and magnifies it to like sauna type level, and then as the duct goes into the laundry room, that part's usually air conditioned. So we've got a big temperature difference that can lead to condensation. So I'm checking for that. Is there any condensation in the transition hose or under or behind the dryer? Also, while I'm down on the floor behind the dryer for the inspection, I'll take my flashlight and look up into the duct in the wall. Again, kind of stick my hand in there to feel any, lint buildup to gauge how dirty the vent system is. And then also I'll look in the back of the dryer kind of for the same thing. Is there any condensation or lint that I can visibly see in the dryer? So this pretty much concludes the inspection steps. It takes probably 20 to 30 minutes. Part of it, depends on the access, how difficult it is to get to the vent on the roof, or navigating the attic if it's in the part of the attic where there's not a finished floor, so kind of walking on rafters. Those elements can make the inspection take a little bit longer. All of this time, while I'm going over the system, I'm building up that picture of what the recommended service should be. Of course, if there's lint buildup anywhere in the line, then cleaning is usually the first recommendation. Delinting the dryer could be another recommendation. And then if there were any issues noted, like the vent line had become disconnected, for example, or the vent on the roof is not up to code or improper, anything like that also would factor into items that I would bring to the homeowner's attention to make them aware of, and then of course make recommendations for the best way forward.